food for him as well. He hasn't
Yes.
got legs and arms.
Yeah.
He's rolling around, but the God created the food for everyone.
Yeah. So he's making arrangement for everyone's maintenance. And why does he do that? Because he's the father of everyone.
Yes.
Why does he take up the responsibility to maintain everyone? Because he's the father of everyone. And he says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Let's see if I can remember the verse. So that's 14th chapter, text 14. Sorry, 14th chapter, text 4. 14th chapter, text 4.
Yeah. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in the material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Yeah. So he's clearly said here, he's the father.
Yeah.
Peter means father. So he says, I am the seed-giving father. So that's why he maintains everyone, because he's the father of everyone. Everything comes from him. We're all his children. So that's the father's prime responsibility, right? You have to maintain your children. So that's what he is, the maintainer of everyone. And that's why we should all toe the line and do what we're told. Because he's maintaining us. So, I mean, if you would go against the person that's maintaining you, what are you doing?
Oh, you have to do good to him.
Yeah, otherwise we call it shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't have respect for the person that's maintaining you, we call that shooting yourself in the foot. Basically, you're being self-destructive. You're going against your best interests. You know, if someone's maintaining you, you should be obedient to them.
In India, we call that the plate you're eating in. You're making a hole in that plate.
Yeah.
You know, the food will go down. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. You know, that's stupid. So that's why we should all acknowledge that we're a servant of Krishna. At least for the point of view, there's many other reasons why we should too. But one of the reasons why everyone should acknowledge that they're a servant of God is because, well, he's maintaining us. And you should just toe the line and do what you're told, be obedient. You know, and you should have some gratitude, isn't it? Someone's giving you the water that you drink, the air that you breathe, the food that you eat, the body that you have, your friends, your family, everything's coming from that person. Shouldn't you have a little bit of respect or gratitude or love that person is giving you everything? You know, the sunlight that you're enjoying, where does it come from? It comes from God. The water that you're enjoying drinking, where does it come from? God. You enjoy eating your rice and dal and halava and, you know, kachoris and everything, pakoras, where does it come from? It comes from God. All the money that you have, you know, comes from God. You know, we say money, we call that Lakshmi, right? Lakshmi, who does Lakshmi belong to? It belongs to Narayan.
Right.
You know, so everyone loves money, right? We all love money. But who does that money belong to? Lakshmi. It belongs to Narayan. You know, it's the consort of Narayan, goddess of fortune. So we should all have some gratitude and respect for what God is giving us. And when God asks us to do something, we should do it. You know, we shouldn't challenge him or ignore him. That's very stupid. It's if you're living in your father's house and he's maintaining you, if you go against your father, then you're an idiot. You're completely a moron. You know, the guy's maintaining you and you go against him, want to make war against him, then you're a fool. You know, you're just destroying yourself, you know. So, you know, it's just no brain that, you know, for anyone that goes against God is completely brain dead, you know, because someone is maintaining us, and that's God. You know, is saying it here. God is that person that maintains everyone. So you can't go against, I mean, you can go against the person that's maintaining you, but you're an idiot if you do. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just not logical.
It's like, yeah, you can't chop the hand that's feeding you.
Yeah, that's right. You can't chop the hand that's feeding you. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah, that's just stupid. But people do that, and an atheistic person is doing that. Because and then
they think they are the doer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's ignorance. That's ignorance. You know, it's like you pretend that your father's not there. That's just stupid. It's just stupid. And then achintya rupam, means his form, he is a rupa, but it's inconceivable. God is, you can remember God as he has a form, but it's a spiritual form. It's not like this material form. That's where a lot of people go wrong. They think when Krishna came to this earth, he came to this earth in a material body, but no, not a material body. He was on this earth for 125 years, but he never looked older than 16 years old. Because his body it's spiritual. He has a Satchidananda, as Lord Brahma said, Satchidananda. It's eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. So Satchidananda Vigraha. So that's inconceivable. People can't. Inconceivable means it's hard to understand how it works. That's what inconceivable means, a chincha. It's very difficult to understand because have you ever seen a spiritual body? Have you ever touched a material body?
Material body.
What's that?
Material body, I touched it.
I know. So you can understand that because you've experienced that with your senses. But something that's beyond your senses, it's very hard for you to understand it. But that's the nature of God. You know, that he has a form, but it's hard for us to understand his form because with our material eyes and other material senses, we can't perceive that form. It's because it's beyond the senses. So then if it's beyond our senses, then do we just give up? No, there is a process of coming to realize God, you know, beyond the material senses. And that's in one of the Goswami's literatures as explained, Ata Shri Krishna Nama Dina Bhave Grayam Indriyai Sevan Mukhi Jivado Swayameva Spiratyada. So what that means is this verse is saying that God is beyond our indriya, our senses. However, even though he's beyond our senses, you can't understand him by your senses. However, that Savon Mukhi Hijivado, that if you do seva, service, beginning with your tongue, jivado, beginning with your tongue, if you do savon mukhi, if you do service beginning with jivado, beginning with your tongue, then you can understand God. So you can't understand with your material indriya, your senses, your eyes and your nose and mouth and so forth like that, your material senses. But if you do service, if you do some service that pleases the Lord, and that service to the Lord begins, well, how do you begin serving the Lord? Is with your tongue. What does that mean? The tongue does two things. What two things does the tongue do?
It's eating.
Yeah.
And chanting or talking or something.
Yeah. So the service that we do to please God begins with our tongue, means by tasting the prasadam and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So this is the beginning of how we can actually realize God. So we can come to the point of realizing God's spiritual form if we take up this process of taking prasadam, just eating prasadam with the tongue, and don't eat other foods that are not offered. Avoid eating unoffered foods. Just eat food that's offered to the Lord, prasadam, and chanting Hare Krishna. Then by this process is explained, Swayameva Spiratyada, then he will reveal himself to us. Then we can perceive him. So normally it is inconceivable. We cannot conceive of God. However, if you take up the process of serving God, then when he's pleased by your service, he's pleased by you taking the Mahaprasadam, he's pleased by your chanting his holy names, then he reveals himself to the devotee. So this process of bhakti yoga is a process of revelation. That means there's nothing you can do to see God. However, if God's pleased by your service, he may reveal himself so that you can see him. Does that make sense?
But
like there's
it's
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told once.
Everybody has got a, that their own way of, worshipping that. and God comes in their form. Like if somebody is a Lord Rama, he comes in that form. If somebody is a Lord Krishna, he comes in that form. Or if somebody is praying that a Hanuman, Krishna comes in the Hanuman form. Like,
but that's him coming in whatever form is following that the devotee or the worshipper has been doing service. So that's the secret ingredient.
yes.
The only way you can come to the point of seeing God or realizing God is through service. Means you have to try to please the person. If you please the person, then the person will come to you, will reveal himself to you. But there's nothing you can do to force God for you to see him.
No.
Like people at Prabhupada would often say, people say, they demand, oh, show me God. I want to see God, then I'll believe. It doesn't work like that. You can't just demand God, come here right now so I can see you with these eyes. No, it's not possible. I mean, you can't even see the thing that's the closest to your eye. What's the closest thing to your eye?
Your nose. You can't even
Well,
see
that's
that.
pretty
You
close.
can't see.
You can't see your nose, but even closer than your nose, you can't even see your eyelid or your eyelashes.
It's maybe.
Yeah. So even material things we can't see much, isn't it? If I put my glasses on like now, if it's more than 10 meters away, I can't see it properly, like that. So something very close to our eyes, you can't see it. Something very far away from your eyes, you can't see it. And if it's dark, what can you see?
Nothing.
Nothing. So there's so many, even materially speaking, there's so many conditions that prevent us from seeing. So then if God has a spiritual form, what are you going to see? You can't even see material things, so many material things, what to speak of something spiritual. However, if God's pleased by our service, then he can make our senses suitable for us to perceive him. So actually the devotee's senses get spiritualized through service. Through serving the Lord, the devotee's senses get spiritualized. And then Krishna actually says that. Let's have a look in the 11th chapter. And then, because Arjuna, remember in the 11th chapter, the universal form, he expresses a desire to see the universal form, Vishvarupa. And here it is. Well, that's amazing. I just opened the page and it came to it. So look at text 7. So chapter 11, text 7.
Yeah.
Read that.
Whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything, moving and non-moving, it's here completely in one place.
Yeah, and the next one?
The next one is, but you cannot see me without your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes.
You can't see me with your present eyes.
Yeah. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulences.
So there you have it. So Krishna's saying there that, I just got to plug it in. So Krishna's saying there, you can't see him with your present eyes, but I'm going to give you divine eyes to see this universal form. So, and that's just the universal form. What to speak of the spiritual form? That's not even a spiritual form. That's just seeing the whole universe in one place. So, but even to see the universal form, which is nothing compared to the spiritual form, you need some special kind of eyes. So how are you going to get these special kind of eyes to see a universal form or a spiritual form? That's revealed by God's mercy, His prasadam. Then you can realize something. Otherwise, you can't see anything, can't understand anything. So that's the beauty of bhakti. But through bhakti is shown to us what activities you can do that please God the most. the activities that please God the most, and then when he's pleased, then he reveals himself to us. And there's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he said that rather than try to see God, try to act in such a way that God will want to see you. So that's the two options, right? You can try to see God, or you can act in such a way that God will want to see you.
Like Prabhupada's philosophy was, when the disciple ready, Guru will appear. Same thing is that when you do a service to the God, when the God wants, he'll appear.
Yes.
Don't look for it.
Yeah. No need to run around the whole world looking for God. If you're acting properly, then God will come to you.
Yeah, it's like if he mercy, the mercy of God, then you can see God.
Yeah. So that's the most important element, is mercy in the process. Yeah. But that mercy doesn't come by chance or automatically. You have to do something. You have to
endeavor.
Yeah.
Endeavor.
So, and that's the whole pastime of Mother Yashoda tying up Krishna and Damodar Leela, that she put the effort in to tie Krishna up, but she couldn't do it. No matter how many ropes she joined together, she couldn't do it. But when Krishna felt sorry for her, that she's trying so hard, let me help her, then he allowed her to tie him up. So it said that half of that gap was her effort, and the other half of that gap was his mercy. So that's the complete picture. You have to try your best for what? To please him. And then the other half is that his mercy, his out of compassion and love for us, his kindness, he mercifully reveals himself to us like that. So, but we've got to put the effort in. But what is the effort? The effort is simply to try to please God.
Yeah.
Like that. And other people are putting an effort too, but their effort is not necessarily to please God. Usually why do we work so hard? It's normally to please ourselves. Yeah. Normally we work and that's for sense gratification, Normally we work hard to please our own senses, but a devotee works hard to please Krishna's senses. So that's the difference. We're working hard. Devotees are not lazy. Some people think spiritual life means you don't do anything anymore. You don't have to work anymore.
Morning, 3:30 in the winter.
But I used to have that idea, and many people had that idea that if you come to spiritual life, well, you just chill out and float in the breeze and you don't do anything. But no, spiritual life means you work hard, but to please Krishna. Not work hard to please yourself, but work hard to please Krishna. But many people have that they have a negative way of understanding things. So they think if materialistic life is you're working hard to please your senses, then spiritual life is the opposite. So they think it means, well, you don't work anymore. Material life means you work hard, and then spiritual life, they have a way of understanding it as the opposite. So, okay, if a materialistic person works hard, then a spiritual person doesn't work. But that's the wrong idea. It doesn't work like that. A spiritual person still works hard, but works hard for Krishna instead of working hard for themselves, like that. Yeah. Okay, so we need, like this in the 11th chapter, Krishna has to give us the eyes to see him. And he'll do that if when he's pleased by our service. Yeah. So because his form, as in today's verse, is achintya rupam, which means inconceivable. And it cannot be perceived by the material senses, but it can be revealed, by one's devotion. And then aditya varnam. Aditya varnam, that means the aditya is the sun. So it's more as you can remember God is that person that's effulgent like the sun, brilliant like the sun. We have that idea, that Krishna is black, so he's very dark and everything like that. But it's not a material kind of black. One time, a devotee asked Prabhupada that what does Krishna really look like? Because the devotee's thinking that Well, you know, we see pictures of Krishna hanging on all the walls and everything. You got one behind you and everything. But the artist, you know, how do you know the artist has got it right and that what Krishna really looks like? But the devotee's thinking, well, Prabhupada can actually see Krishna. Prabhupada, the guru, the pure devotee, is actually seeing Krishna face to face. Like now I'm looking at you, Gulshan, and you're looking at me. We're seeing each other face to face. So let's find out from the pure devotee what God really looks like, not just from some artist who's just got some theoretical idea from reading a book like that. So he asked Prabhupada, what does Krishna really look like? And Prabhupada answered his question by asking him another question. He said, have you seen a acetylene torch? Acetylene torch. So acetylene torch is the one the welders use. And it's so bright, that torch is so bright, you need a mask. You need a mask to protect your eyes, otherwise you go blind. If you look at that torch with your bare eyes, your naked eyes, it'll blind you. So they have to wear a special shield to protect their eyes and their face from that brightness. So that was Prabhupada's answer, was saying, have you seen an acetylene torch? So what is saying that God's body is so bright. It's so bright. So we shouldn't think that God is just some black person, like, you know, you see some black person from Africa or whatever. God is not that kind of black. He's I mean, once again, it's inconceivable. How can you get a bright black? But that's beyond our imagination. We can't understand that. So basically what we should do, you just keep serving the Lord, and then if he's pleased by his service, then he'll reveal himself. But yeah, he's very effulgent, like the sun, like more than the sun. Actually, it said Krishna is bright as thousands of suns.
If he wants to come to appear front of Abhay Prabhu, he will not come with the like a torch of a welding. He will come in the normal form, so you can see that.
Yeah, so
and
that's once again
or
Krishna's
he can
mercy.
specialize. Either way, either specialized. If it doesn't get specialized, normalized, he will come in the normal form.
Yeah,
and you can see that.
Well, he'll give us eyes to tolerate the brightness, or he might turn the brightness down a bit. I'll make it easy for a boy and turn the brightness level down.
He may become just a normal person, like, you know, it's like in the normal person form. He can come in there too. So
but even you could say normal person, but so beautiful beyond your imagination. Like we say, Sham Sundar, so beautiful, Sundar.
I think person who's seen that, he cannot explain. There's no word can explain God. You know what I mean? He can get mute, and he just like if you give it you know what's the deaf and dumb? You know, if you give him a jaggery and ask him what's the taste like, he can't tell, because he's. So if you see them, you will get mute. This is part of that.
I've told the story before about how Kamdev, Cupid, had heard that Krishna was on earth. So he was jealous because people were telling that no one is as beautiful as Krishna. But he was thinking he is the most beautiful because Kamdev, Cupid, is very good looking features. So he went to fire his arrows because that's his job, to shoot arrows in the heart of the opposite sex, and then they get attracted to each other. Like you could say, why is it that this in the material world that a man is attracted to a woman and a woman is attracted to a man? Why is that? And that's because of Kamdev, Cupid. It says he fires the arrow in the heart of the woman and they get attracted to the man. He fires the arrow in the heart of the man and they get attracted to the woman. So that's what Kamdev does. So he went to Vrindavan 5,000 years ago and he went to fire his arrow at Krishna to make him become lusty for someone. So, but Krishna is always surrounded by loving devotees. That's one of Krishna's qualities, super excellent qualities. He's always surrounded by devotees. He's never alone. So when he went to Vrindavan, he couldn't see Krishna because there's like devotees everywhere. But Krishna knew what Kamadev is planning. So he made an arrangement that just for a moment, all the devotees just came apart a little bit. And then he was ready with his bow and arrow. But what happened is, as soon as he saw Krishna, how beautiful Krishna is, he fainted. He just fainted on the ground, dropped his bow and arrow, and just fainted. because Krishna's so beautiful. Just a little glimpse. It's just so attractive. So Shyam Sundar, so
If it's
beautiful.
a as well, it's a Krishna's energy anyway.
What's that?
Kamdev also under Krishna is a Krishna's energy.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's nothing is. It's like it's not different from Krishna. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
We all part and parcel.
Yeah,
Whatever
but
he wants to.
he's yeah, but we only have those qualities in minute amounts, like the beauty and the strength. He has it 100%. So if you see like 100% beauty, you know, it's just overwhelming. We have a little bit of beauty, a little bit of this, but he has unlimited like that. And like talking about how bright his body is, sometimes the demigods try to approach God to get some, usually it's to get protection from the asuras, from the demons and so forth. But what happens when they get close to him, to Vishnu, is that they fall down on the ground because Vishnu is so bright, so dazzling, they can't even look at him. So they just fall down, you know, so much awe and reverence is there when you approach someone so great that they're just emanating this brilliant effulgence, you know, like that. So there is pastimes that indicate that his body is very bright. It's very bright. Even the demigods can't see past that brightness. There's actually a verse, I don't know if I can find it, where it's saying, where the devotee is praying to the Lord to remove your effulgence. I think it's actually, there's another verse that's more closely talking about that in the Ishopanishad, where in the Sri Ishopanishad, where the devotee is praying, please remove your effulgence so that I can see you. So yeah, there is a dazzling like effulgence or light emanating from God's body. And as we know, you know what I mean by the Brahma Jyoti, right? Brahma Jyoti, spiritual light. So the Brahma Jyoti is all pervading everywhere, even the material world. The foundation of the whole material world is the spiritual light, the Brahma Jyoti, and that's all the in the spiritual sky is all just Brahma Jyoti, and the planets, the spiritual planets are there in that Brahma Jyoti, and even the material world is based on the Brahma Jyoti. So where does the Brahma Jyoti come from? That's the question. Where does that all-pervading spiritual light, where does it come from?
From Krishna?
Yeah, from his body. It's radiating from his body. Just like the sunshine, it's all pervading this universe as the sunshine. Where does the sunshine come from?
Krishna. It's a Krishna's eye. One is sun, one is moon.
Krishna's eye, yeah. But I mean, just materially speaking, where does the sunshine come from? It's everywhere, right? But where does it come from? It comes from the sun planet, right? The sun planet's not everywhere, but that's where the sunshine comes from, that localized planet. And how does that sun planet exist? The sun planet exists because of Suryadev, because of Suryadev Vivashvan is there. If there was no Suryadev, then there'd be no sun planet. You get it? If there was no Suryadev, there would be no sun planet. And if there's no sun planet, then there would be no sunshine. You know, so that's all three things together. So because Krishna's form is so brilliant, that's why you've got the Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti comes from Krishna's body. And we can look at that. There's a verse about that. And the last verse of the 14th chapter, 27. 14:27.
And I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness.
Yeah, so this verse is talking about the Brahman, the spiritual light, and he's saying, and Krishna is clearly saying here, I am the basis of the Brahman. So the Brahman is the spiritual light. So and he is the basis of the Brahman. So all that light is coming from Krishna's body. So definitely it's brilliant. He's not just some dark black person. He's very bright, very brilliant, very dazzling. And so, yeah, he's luminous like the sun, Adityavarnam. Tamasa parastat. So tamasa parastat means this material world is known as tamas, is full of ignorance or darkness, full of darkness, full of ignorance. So his parastat means he's beyond that. So he's beyond ignorance. There's no darkness in him. There's no ignorance in him. He's beyond that. He's transcendental to the darkness. So even when Krishna comes to the material world, we should never think he's another, conditioned soul like us. He's never conditioned by ignorance, by passion, he's never in tamagun, rajagun, sattvagun. He's always known as Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva means pure goodness, above even goodness, pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. Like we have here the three modes of material nature, three gunas. We have tamagun, rajagun, and sattvagun. So Krishna is transcendental to this. He's never in tamagun, never rajagun, sattvagun. He's always Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva means the transcendental position. He's always transcendental. So that's always important to remember God in that way. We should never think of God as an ordinary person like us, with a material body or subject to ignorance and suffering and like that. He's always transcendental like that. And if we remember that, if we can remember that, God's transcendental nature, then we can also learn the art of how to become transcendental ourselves. And that's the idea. And then by studying God's nature, we can also develop that same nature and become transcendental ourselves. Even like the even the spiritual master, the guru, in the material world becomes transcendental. So it's not just that Krishna is transcendental, but even the spiritual master, the pure devotee, can become transcendental even in the material world. And I'll give you one example, proof of that. Even Prabhupada was on his deathbed, right? In 1977 on his deathbed. Do you know what he was doing? Was he screaming in pain and crying and sleeping and stuff like that, all drugged up?
You must be chanting.
He was dictating the Bhagavatam. He was speaking the Bhagavad, 10th canto. Like the final chapter Prabhupada has given us before he departed in 1977 was the 13th chapter, Brahma's prayers. So the 13th chapter, that was given to us by Prabhupada when he went on his deathbed. Normally, like the doctor said, an ordinary person would be screaming in pain with the condition of Prabhupada's body, would be screaming in pain. But what was he doing? Calmly dictating the purports, Bhaktivedanta purports of the 13th chapter of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam.
So who completed after that?
One of his disciples, Hridayananda Das Goswami, plus some others. And that's mentioned on those final volumes that it's got at the bottom, Hridayananda Das Goswami, under the direction of Prabhupada like that. But just he's so transcendental to his bodily situation like that. We're all in the material body, but that doesn't mean you have to identify with it. If you identify with it, then you're a conditioned soul. But if you're in the body but you don't identify with it, then you're transcendental. If you don't identify with those things. And what are the things that we condition to? There's four main things we condition to: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending.
This is the end.
But you look at like Prabhupada, like especially towards the end there, he wasn't doing any of those things. For many years, there was no mating, definitely mating, and no defending. And then in the final times, there was even no sleeping and no eating. So that's transcendental. No eating, no sleeping, no mating, no, because that's the four needs of a material body. Material body means you need to do those things. If you're not doing that, then you're liberated. You're transcendental. And you'll see that even in the lives of the six Goswamis and that, the followers of Lord Chaitanya. They hardly ate anything and they hardly slept. Virtually no sleeping. I mean, like Haridas Thakur, he was chanting 192 rounds every day. That doesn't leave a lot of time for other stuff. And
Yeah,
what time do you have to do anything else if you chant 192 rounds a day? You know, that's ridiculous. You know, and even the others like Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa and Sanatan, they hardly ate anything or slept anything. Like Raghunath Das, every second day he would eat like a few chickpeas. You know, that's like it. Every second day, eat a few chickpeas or have one glass of buttermilk chas, and that's it. That's all they had. You know, because they were so transcendental. You know, they weren't identifying with their body at all. You know, so and Krishna was maintaining, like we were reading here, Krishna's maintaining. So Krishna was maintaining their bodies, you know, and there's many pastimes like that. Like the associates of Lord Nityananda 500 years ago, they were called the Gopalas, the 12 of them. There was these 12 associates, they were called the 12 Gopalas. And it said like they would just be running around playing with Lord Nityananda and everything like that, like cowherd boys. And it said they wouldn't eat for 1 month. Just 1 month they didn't eat anything. And they didn't become skinny. And they didn't become skinny. You know, they maintained their health and weight and everything like that without eating. And it said they would walk in the branches of the trees, and the branches wouldn't break. They'd be like at the end of the branch, like not at the trunk. They would walk to the end of the branch, and the branch didn't break. So it means that they were completely transcendental. You know, and this is possible, you know, through service. Service. If you just keep doing service, then eventually what happens is Krishna takes over. You know, like it said, like Prahlad also was the same. That Prahlad got to the point where he didn't even think about eating or sleeping or even going toilet. He didn't think, oh, now I have to go to the toilet or anything like that. It said that Krishna himself was doing everything for his body. Krishna himself was maintaining his body. Because the devotee was so deeply absorbed in thinking of Krishna, he didn't think about himself at all. So Krishna himself was thinking about the devotee. Isn't that love? You know, that I'm thinking about you and you're thinking about me. You know, so like that's love. That the devotee's thinking about Krishna, he never thinks about himself. And Krishna's thinking about the devotee. Oh, I better feed the devotee. Like you said, he provides food for the python and everything like that. So, you know, Krishna himself will provide, you know, what the devotee needs and everything like that. So it's far out. That's love.
Yes, it is.
That's love. Okay, do you want to read the purport?
Yeah. The process of thinking of the Supreme is mentioned in this verse. The foremost point is that he is not impersonal or void. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. This is very difficult. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated herein. First of all, the Lord is Purusha, a person. We think of the person Rama and the person Krishna. And whether one thinks of Rama or Krishna, what he is like is described in this verse of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is Kavi, that is, he knows past, present, and the future, and therefore knows everything. He is the oldest person because he is the origin of everything. Everything is born out of him. He is also the supreme controller of universe, and he is a maintainer, an instructor of humanity. He is smaller than the smallest. The living entity is 1/10,000th part of tip of a hair. But the Lord is so inconceivably small that he enters into the heart of this particle. Therefore, he is called smaller than the smallest. As the supreme, he can enter into the atom and into the heart of the smallest and control him as super soul. Although so small, he is still all pervading and is maintaining everything. By him, all these planetary systems are sustained. We often wonder how these big planets are floating in the air. It is stated here that Supreme Lord, by his conceivably energy, is sustaining all these big planets and system of galaxies. The word uh, Asienta in
Achintya.
Asienta, inconceivable, is very significant in this connection. God's energy is beyond our conception, beyond our thinking, jurisdiction, and is therefore called inconceivable, Ashintya. Who can argue this point? He provides this material world and yet is beyond it. We cannot comprehend even this material world, which is insignificant compared to the spiritual world. So, how can we comprehend what is beyond? Achintya means that which is beyond this material world, that which are argument, logic, and philosophical speculation cannot touch, that which is inconceivable. Therefore, intelligent person avoid useless argument and speculation, should accept what is stated in the scripture like Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and follow the principle they set down. This will lead one to understanding.
So that's the best way to find out about God, is by hearing from the scriptures, hearing from the Vedic authorities. Otherwise, like, he's beyond our imagination, beyond our mental capacity. So that if God is, or any subject, if something is beyond your experience, if something's beyond your experience, how are you going to find out about it? You know, like, for example, if I wanted to try to understand about Russia, how would I do that if I've never been to Russia? I have no experience of Russia. I've never been to Russia. But does that mean I can't find out about Russia? You can. What's the best way to do it?
Just visit there.
Well, visit there, or talk to someone that comes from Russia. Yeah, talk to someone that comes from Russia, and then they'll explain to you what Russia's like. So it's like that. You know, the best way for us to understand God is either to hear from God himself, and that's Bhagavad Gita, or to hear from someone that knows God, and that's Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is coming from so many authorities that know God. You know, like there's past times with Lord Brahma, you know, and his experience of God, you know, in the Bhagavatam, and Lord Shiva and his experience of God in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Narada Muni and his experience of God, and Prahlad Maharaj and his experience, Dhruva Maharaj and his experience. You know, so from all these, what's that?
Yeah. Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah, Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami, like that. So all the if you want to find out about God, you actually have to find out from God himself, or from someone that knows God. But if you just try to speculate, I think God is green with blue dots and he's got 4 heads and 3 noses, and no, that's not the way to find out just by speculating. You're never going to figure it out, you know, like that. So we should hear from an authority. That's the point, hear from an authority. And what we find out when we hear from an authority, the first thing, as Prabhupada said, that's the foremost point, is that God is a person. And see, by our mental speculation, that's the first mistake we often make, is that we think God is just energy. We think God is just light. And that's what I used to think too. you know, that people I would hear from people that said that God is just light. That's all it is, you know, and that's, you know, because most people that they're speculators, they're mental speculators. So just by our speculation, that's what we come to think, is that God must be just energy. He's just light, you know, because energy, of course, is very big. You know, it's everywhere, right? Energies, and we think God is everywhere. He controls everything. So God must be just everywhere, right? He's just light. When we think of a person, what do we think?
What was in the form?
Yeah, it means it's limited. We have an idea in our mind. We have an idea that, well, if Krishna is just a little blue boy about 5 foot tall and with 2 eyes and 1 head, then he's limited. How can he be God? Because God, we had an idea that God is unlimited. So when we see, well, Krishna is just, he looks pretty limited. You know, he's only this wide and this tall. He's like that. So we think that, oh, Krishna can't be God, because God has to be everywhere, right? God's unlimited, right? But that's our mistake, because we think that you know, this big body of Krishna is limited. No, it's unlimited. That's an unlimited form. But can you understand that? Have you ever seen an unlimited form? No, you haven't. So that's what we have to just learn from following the Vedic authority, that God has a form, but that form is not a limited form like ours. God's form is unlimited. And from that unlimited form, all this unlimited light comes from. All this unlimited energy and light comes from that unlimited form. But that the energy and the light come from the form. It's not the other way around. It's not that these forms come out of the energy, because that's what most so-called spiritual people will think. They think that all these forms come out of the energy, but it's actually the person comes first and the energy comes second. It's not the other way around. It's not that the person comes out of energy. It's the energy comes from a person. It's like this sound that's happening now is an energy, right? The sound coming out of my mouth is energy, right? And that sound is going everywhere.
Yeah.
But where does the sound come from? It comes from this person. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I've come out of the voice, but the voice is coming out of the person. You know what I'm saying? So all energies that comes from a person, even like, for example, electricity, right? Electricity is energy, and that energy goes everywhere. But does that electricity exist by itself? No, it doesn't. If you trace the wire from the light bulb, trace the wire down the line, where does it go to? It goes to a power station. And then if you go inside the power station, there's engineers there. So actually the controller of that energy is the engineer. If you remove the engineer, then you're not going to have any electricity.
Even in the voice, you said that a voice only comes that if you're alive. When you died, there's no voice. So when you're alive, it means you got soul, which is the part and parcel of Krishna. That's why you talk. So it's come from Krishna. Because the soul be gone, it'll be body become a dead body. You can't talk like that. So the soul is there. So that's part of Krishna. So the source is coming by the Wi-Fi.
So you can always trace energy back to a person, you know, but it's not the other way around. It's not that, you know, Krishna came out of the Brahman, or that, you know, anything, you know, energy just exists by itself. Energy does not exist by itself. Energy, you can always trace it back to a conscious spiritual being. The conscious spiritual being is the source of that energy. And there's so many different kinds of energies, but they all you know, the foundation of all those energies is the person. You know, the you know, strength is an energy, but it comes from a person. You know, and intelligence is an energy, but it comes from a person. You know, your vision, the vision is an energy, but it comes from a person. Smell is an energy, but it comes from a person. Taste is an energy, but it comes from a person. So it's all beginning from a person. So that's the important thing to understand. And most people have got it wrong. Most people think God is just energy. God is just light, or he's like a candle or something like that. And you know, a lot of people, if you talk about meditation, if you ask people what does meditation mean to you, they'll say that, oh, you think about a candle, or you think about the sun, or you think about your body. Meditate on your body. Start meditating on your toes, and then up to your knees and your bum and your head and like that. So hardly anyone would say, you know, that meditation means thinking about the beautiful form of God. Very rare. Only the devotee will be thinking like that. Because meditation means like thinking, right? So, and this is the subject now, is thinking. So, but what are people meditating on? What are they thinking about? You know, then hardly anyone is thinking about Krishna's form. But actually, that's the ultimate meditation, is to be meditating on Krishna's form.
Can you meditate on Mahamantra?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. I do meditate.
Yeah, but then, like, you know, what is the Maha Mantra? It's a name. It's the names of of what? It's the names of a person. You know, so it's still a person, right? A person has names.
Yeah.
You know, a person has names, you know. So these are names of Krishna, who's a person, you know, like that. So you're glorifying Krishna's names, God's names, like that. So still the basis of is a person, like that. And that's a good way to attract God, attract Krishna. You know, like if you're walking down Maitland Road and someone calls out your name very loudly, "Hey, Gulshan, Gulshan, wait, Gulshan," then what effect will that have?
I'll stop and look.
You'll stop and look. So it's attracted you. There's someone calling your name, it's attracted your attention.
Even
so if someone calls out, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, you know, then that attracts God to us.
Yes, definitely.
Because where do we get that? Where do we get that tendency from? Where do we get that nature from? Because we're part of God.
Yes.
So because we get attracted when someone calls out our name because Krishna does. We're part of him. So that's where we get the tendency from.
Yeah, definitely. It's. I think it's like a whatever you say, it comes back to you as well. Like if you say Krishna, you're not just saying Krishna, and that voice come back to you, Krishna. That's why you see a lot of mosques and all that. They have got a round ceiling. So the voice, whatever you say, it comes back to you. If you say Krishna's glory to someone, it's not you telling someone, you're telling yourself.
Yeah, you're also hearing.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what I said in the beginning, that helps us to remember.
Yes,
when we talk about Krishna, that's also helping us to remember, coming to our ears.
It's your 1 hour, 1.5 hour class. It comes back to you as well.
Yes.
Not only just to me, as you. So anytime we say, that's definitely.
And then that helps us both to remember.
Yes, that's right. We do everyday thing there, but that's what the old chanting is about. 2 hours, 1.5, 2 hours, 2.5, whatever time is there, or you can do more than that while you cooking or gardening or things like that. It just comes back to you.
Yeah.
So and then
that's so important. This concentrated time that we spend in the day, maybe 1.5 hours, 2 hours, or whatever, chanting. That's going to help us to remember him the rest of the day.
Yes, 100%.
That's going to help us to remember him.
Time of the bed, you will go to the bed. You'll be thinking, okay, chanting. When you wake up in the morning,
it was amazing. One time I was distributing books many years ago, and I approached one lady who had a pram with her kid in it. And when I came close to her, she said to me, and I was just dressed with trousers and a shirt like normally. And she said, "I like your bells." And that confused me. What does that mean? I like your bells, because I wasn't wearing bells hanging from me or anything like that. And I was just holding books. I didn't even have cartels or anything. I was just holding books. And so I said, "Sorry, I'm confused. What do you mean I like your bells?" She said, "I can see people's auras. And in your aura, I can hear ching, 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 ching."
She was a psychic.
So she could pick that up in my aura, the cartels. Yeah, I mean, well, not just psychic, but just in the aura of the person, the energy of the person. You know, these things are there, like the kirtans are kept in the aura. So that was amazing revelation for me. Say, we think that, well, we're in the kirtan for 1 hour in the temple, and then we leave that, and then the kirtan's finished, but it hasn't finished. Because you're in that for 1 hour, you carry that with you.
Yeah.
You carry that kirtan in your subtle body. It means the subtle body is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So in the subtle body, that's stored up in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like now we're, talking about this verse of Bhagavad Gita, and we think it's going to stop in a minute, we're going to finish, but it hasn't finished because it's in your mind. Because now we've been talking for 1.5 hours and hearing it, that's in our mind, in our subtle body. So this lady could pick up what's in people's subtle bodies.
Oh, okay.
So that's amazing. So like I say, this is how we can always have Krishna in our mind. If we spend this time hearing about him and talking about him, then we will remember. That will be in the mind. That memory will be there. Even maybe not in our conscious mind, but subconsciously, it's there. All these, hours and days and years of chanting and hearing the scriptures and everything, that's in our mind, even if it's subconsciously, but it's there. And ultimately, we want to bring it to we become conscious of it more.
Yeah, it is actually very,
But it's pretty. I was like, wow, this is like next level.
Yes.
That the kirtan is the kirtan is always with me. Doesn't matter where I go, the kirtan is always there. And so that's beautiful. I mean, that's a powerful, I tell you, this is a super powerful process that Prabhupada's given us. If you do like that, have a morning program, you do your chanting and read some of the scripture, it's going to carry with you through the day. It's far out. And even when you go to sleep, like you tell me all these dreams you're having, it's even carrying with you at night.
It's like a night time when I'm chanting and sleeping, and so I start chanting, and then I go sleep within a minute or so. And if I go in the toilet, and then I keep chanting and go back to sleep. And sometimes my chanting will be like doesn't come in the right form, like while you're sleeping and things like that. But so that's why the dream is all about. So it's all is all the dream is like that, because on the time of there is a one when you about to sleep and when you sleep, and there is a one stage in between. It's like a very, I don't know what kind of stage is that, in between the sleep and awake. You're about to sleep, so in that stage, if you say something, that is very, very smart time of your life, before you go to sleep and about to sleep. There's one, it's called a not a conscious, not unconscious, in between.
Okay.
That's a stage. Once you sleep, you're unconscious, but if you wake, you're conscious. It's in between. There's the unconscious and non-conscious. Very, very solid, like it's a nirvana stage. On that time, if you say something, that'll be good to your veins.
Oh yeah.
It's in the vein, and then it's very hard to get it out of that. That's it. So well, when I fall asleep, sleep, when I wake, and then you know what, I got to tell you that medicine that it's really, I think it's working. I got one more. They were saying 4 to 6 we have to take it, 4 to 6 week. Did I tell you that show about the one homeopathic?
No, I think you might have briefly mentioned, but yeah.
So it's been 2 weeks now, and they were saying 4 to 6 weeks you have to take that. But I can see, I can
some
feel
good
the
results,
difference.
Huh? You're getting some good results. Good.
And it's only $13, and it's all homeopathic. It's a homeopathic takes a longer time. He said you have to take 2 months, 3 months, no problem. Only straight on your tongue, a few drops.
Yeah, and there's no bad side effects or anything. That's great.
All that. So no, it's
good. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, take care of your health. That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, health is important. That's right. Yeah. But everything is, it's well, like, you know, I don't need to go to doctor and everything there. If it does come, I'll go to doctor. But other than that, everything is beautiful.
Awesome. It's glad to hear.
I get the energy to do the service.
Yes, that's the way to think about it. It's a good reason to maintain the health. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad to